Hello and welcome to the Sanctuary, a safe space to speak from the heart. I'm your host Israel, and I'm picking it up from last episode where we talked with the Poly Triad. So you guys are now living together. This is like a TV show, right? By this point, so you're living together, fucking each other's brains out, having a wonderful time. Did you also do like hiking and stuff? Like, did you do things outside the house, or was it all inside the
We
house?
did a lot outside the house. We climbed mountains, we backpacked. Both Jack and Minxy had never been backpacking.
Camping.
Still technically haven't because it ended up having too much snow. Um, but we off-road. We have a full off-road vehicle that's lifted with big tires. We go off,
Toyota.
yeah, we go off into the mountains like every single weekend with our dogs. We're very, very outdoors focused, and we love to travel around the state and the US. Last summer alone, Minxie and I went to 6 national parks
Holy
around
shit.
the Great Plains and the Rocky Mountains.
You got to get your vitamin D, and you also got to get your vitamin D.
Okay, so let's talk about the vitamin D, the second one now. Um, you guys run an OnlyFans. How did that start?
Okay.
I'm like, this was all Jack's
It's actually a
brainchild.
weird story. So I had not really known about OnlyFans until I think I had seen something on Reddit about it. And at the time, my cousin, who is a very attractive person,
Very beautiful.
yeah, she's yes, was struggling with work and income, and
Because of quarantine.
because of quarantine, exactly. And I had suggested to her, I was like, hey, I know this sounds weird coming from your cousin, but like, you could make bank on OnlyFans, I think. And she thought about it, and she ended up opening up an account, and she made like 25 grand in 3 months.
Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And so this was like right when COVID had just started, and this is also when our poly relationship was sort of just getting started. So at this time, I hadn't broached the subject or anything. We were still like trying to make our dynamic work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
During quarantine.
during quarantine. So it
Trial
comes.
by fire.
So we're talking about, I would say, 6 months into it. My cousin texts me and she's like, I'm killing it right now. I'm making all this money. And she would just send me like little screenshots of her statements and be like, look at this, look at this, look at this. And I'm like, wow,
Holy
wow,
shit.
you're doing
Right.
amazing. And it clicked in my head and I was like, I wonder if we could do the same thing. It was just like, I thought we actually have something that people would be interested in. I mean, we're in a permanent sort of threesome relationship. We look like your normal average people. We're not these like perfect models, that aren't attainable. So I thought, okay, so we look like like your neighbors, you know what I mean? Like we look like attainable, normal people living this life that is, we get freaky and we have lots of threesome sex and we do a lot of things that people would love to experiment with that never get that opportunity to. And that's when I pitched it to Nikki and Minxy, and I was like, hey, here are my thoughts. This is why I think we can make money and my plan. And not to get too far into the weeds of it, but essentially I'm really good at social media marketing. I used to own my own business and that was part of it. So I knew-ish what I was doing, and now here we are.
So, you call a family meeting, and Nikki and Minxie are sitting there, and you pitch them this. How was your individual reactions to what Jack said? I'll start with Minxie this time.
For me personally, I had thought about doing my own posting on Reddit and such, but I would have never gone through with it. I'm a very shy, introverted personality type. And so the idea at first, like I was like, oh my God, why would we do this? Like we would be putting ourselves out there. Like this is the most vulnerable that you can be. is, you know,
Naked on the
naked
internet.
and having sex on the internet. Like that's like the biggest vulnerability ever. So like for me, that was an initial like cringe all the way inside to my core. But you know, I thought about it, I'm like, well, it could be fun, it could be interesting. And there was also the fact that if we did well at it, we could, you know, make a decent amount of money to help out with the bills, because COVID definitely wasn't easy on anyone.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So when he pitched the idea, I was super excited.
Why?
I always kind of wanted to do something along those lines. Like in college, I thought about stripping, but where I went, there was only like one strip club in town, and it was not known for being great. Um, so I'd always thought about stripping. I'd always loved just the idea of making porn. I feel like it's a very contrary to like how I was raised, I feel like it's a very empowering thing for women. You know, you're taking control of this asset that you have, your sexuality, and you're doing this amazing thing with it. So for me, it was always an empowering thing to think of women in porn. So I was ecstatic when he was like, "Would y'all want to do porn?" I was like, "Yes, please."
Well, especially in the amateur porn world, obviously, because
Yeah.
it's a personal choice. Everyone's consenting and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I pitched it, and at the time, Minxy was like, "Let me think about it. I'm not 100% sure."
Give me at least 72 hours.
Nikki was like, "Yeah, this is great," and I had done a lot of research. And you know, like I knew some other groups that were also polyamorous that I had been chatting with, and they were making big money. I mean,
that had OnlyFans?
oh yeah, like two groups I'm talking to and was talking to at the time, they were exceeding $20,000 a month.
Fuck.
Yeah, we just broke $20,000 and it's been 6 months. So for us, it's been a very slow climb. I'm trying to do things as naturally and as realistically as possible. Like everything is shot on an iPhone. Everything is edited on my Mac or my iPhone with just like the native applications. So I try to make it look like as amateur as I can.
Yes.
Yeah, so people can see it and they can be like, that could be me. That could be me. So we've slowly, you know, worked our way up, and we're at this point now where, you know, the income is almost covering all of our expenses. And that's not the only reason why we do it. Of course, we really love sharing ourselves. That was the initial thing, was like, let's just share this so people can experience what we do.
Right.
And let's not exploit them. That's the other part about it, is I don't, you know, there's a lot of OnlyFans that lie and cheat and exploit the people that join.
In what way?
So you have groups that will like advertise on Reddit and FetLife and all these other places, and then you join their OnlyFans and they only have a very little bit of content, and it's not great content.
Oh, yeah.
False advertising,
Pay per
essentially.
view type things.
Yeah, or they'll charge you for each thing you view, or things like that, where you just feel like you kind of got gypped.
Right.
I'm trying to be the opposite of that. I'm trying to make it feel like when you join us, you're getting a lot. Like
You're getting a
we don't
lot.
charge per view. We only charge for it's custom requests. Like, so if you were to ask us to do something very specific, then we would charge for that. But we make sure that when you join, you have access to everything immediately. And we have a lot, like 500 plus pieces of content, including videos and photos and things like that. So there's a lot of value in it.
Talking about the contents, like, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, talking about the content, right? How do you you have a process for that?
So actually is what I was about to say is Jack can speak more to that in detail. But one thing that we do that I think I really like is that every couple of months we'll poll our subscribers and kind of ask, you know, because you can do polls on OnlyFans. So you can say like, do you want to see more of this, or this? And so we try to get a feel for what people are wanting. And we do it every couple of months, and we get really good feedback on it. And like our last one that we did, they wanted more just like doing everyday tasks naked. So
Like
that's something
cleaning
that's
and shit.
it's a little hard for us because like, we do everyday tasks. We don't think about like, let's take pictures of us doing this naked.
Right, right,
So it's
right.
definitely been, I love challenges and I love having to like cognizantly think of things. And so for me, it's a big challenge to be like, oh, hey, I'm about to bake bread. Let me just get naked, take some pictures of me baking bread. And it's really, that part of it is really fun for me.
We've also had to refine the process because, I mean, that's part of the reason why we've had a slow climb to where we're at currently. We started off not even posting anything on OnlyFans. We just started with advertising, and we went from that to actually posting on OnlyFans. We kind of sold ourselves too high originally. At what was it, Jack?
We were charging too much initially, so we thought there was a lot more value, and apparently that just doesn't play well with OnlyFans. People don't want to pay
More than Netflix.
more. Yeah, nobody wants to pay more than a regular streaming service, especially because of the stigma around it, and of course the potential of being gypped. Like joining and then not getting what you were wanting. So we had a slow start. And a big part of this for us too right now is we haven't really been able to do all the things we want to do because we have a roommate and his daughter living here, and they're not involved in this. So
Yeah. Okay,
But they move out
that's
in 2
news.
yeah, and so like we have to work around it. She like his daughter is almost out of the house age, and she spends every weekend at her brother's house. So we have time to make content when they're not here, but it gives us a limited window to do what we really want to do. So that has been a huge limiting factor for us. And fortunately, they're moving out in 2 months, which means we'll have an empty house. And I think that's going to allow us to more freely
Utilize our space.
utilize our
Oh, yeah.
space.
We're
Yeah.
about to have a sex room.
So yeah, you're saying you're about to have a sex room. Do you have ideas of what things you'd want to put in there?
Yes, we
Oh.
do.
There is a plan in place.
I've already planned the whole room. I'm very excited about this. Yes. very
What are some things you'd want to put in the room? Does it have a color in your head?
So Minxy and I, we are on a dom sub relationship. I'm her dom, she's my sub, and we have a contract and everything. And one thing that we have been getting more into is rigging and suspension and bondage.
Ropes.
The problem is in our bedroom right now, we don't really have the best setup for suspension to do it safely and effectively.
We also don't have the space. We have 2 king beds slapped together. Yeah.
So we literally have a
But
bed.
that's a lot of room though. Shit.
Yeah, it's a lot of bedroom for
Right.
bed stuff, but not a lot of room for anything else.
No stuff to hang people upside down. Got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so my goal for our new sex room will be a lot more opportunity for suspension and rigging. Right now our space in our room is very limited we have a lot of ropes, we have a lot of toys, we have a lot of outfits.
It's all jammed into
But
this one little box.
it's all jammed into like one little tiny storage box. And so my view for our future room is to have it more on display,
Aesthetically pleasing.
have it more interactive. So, if our customers or people on Reddit are like, oh, I really love this toy that I see in the background, we can focus that in our content, have it more user friendly. I'm really just excited about the rigging and the suspension because I love being a rigger. It's so much fun for me. I want to learn all of it. And she's a great test subject. It's such a great sport.
I'm very
Right.
looking, and I tend to stay pretty still. So
Yeah, she's very great at it, and she likes it too. So bonus.
and I'm pretty much the photographer, the editor, the social media runner, and the penis. So we had somebody write a review about us, and they were like, wow, the dynamic between the 2 girls are really amazing, and then the guy just seems to be the dick. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's not really to go.
So you said you priced yourself so too high. that's something I think just, in general, people struggle with anything when it comes to pricing. How did you come up with the price point you have now, and does it work a lot better?
Just research initially. So like I just started messaging other content creators that were similar to us. They didn't have to be exactly like us, but that were just similar to the content they were putting out on Reddit and OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, hey, tell me your story. And it was all the same. They all started to charge this higher amount. So for us, initially, it was $20 to subscribe, $20 a month. And, I think we maxed out at like 45 subscribers.
Like, not many.
Yeah, it wasn't much. And I mean, now we have 10 times that. So we just lowered the price to 10 and put 20% off. So it's $8 to join. And I learned that from these other people. They told me the same thing. They're like, yeah, we charge around $8. Sometimes it's even less. And that's how, some of those groups, they have thousands of followers. We have right around 400 to 500. We just sort of float.
So like, it's like, well, you just mentioned Netflix. So it's like subscription, like, is it when they join, does it just kick in the next month, or do they have to like physically actually activate for the next month?
It's automatically on
okay.
Resubscribe. They have to choose not to. And that honestly is the toughest part of this whole business, to call it a business. But that's the most difficult part is retaining. Because I think a lot of people, they join, they watch all the porn, they jerk their life away, which is awesome. I mean, they jerk off to everything, which is amazing. And then they get tired of it and they move on to the next group.
Right.
So it's a lot of like once and dones. They pay for the first month and then they're out of there. And that's it's an uphill battle. We're always trying to find new subscribers or people who might see some new fresh content, want to come back. We get that a little bit.
Yeah, we did get a couple this week too.
Yeah, and so that is all a part of this, is like, how do we keep people interested? How do we keep them like wanting to come back? And so part
Sex room.
So part of that now is like creating a sex room, a new place where it's aesthetically pleasing. And our next phase is going to be bringing some new people in. So we're in the middle of talking to another couple that is also they're content creators, and they're looking at consistently making content with us, so we can do a lot of girl or boy girl, like things like that I think would be even more pleasing for a lot of people to see three girls playing with each other.
Right.
I'm super stoked.
So like, and then when it comes to couples like this, and you're thinking of your next phase, and I'll come back to that, but when you're thinking of couples like this, do you have is it, okay, we do this, we are recording it for OnlyFans, or is it a relationship outside just making content?
I think that's going to depend on the couple. So like, the people we're talking to now, they seem pretty cool, and I feel like we might get along with them really well. And there could be in my opinion, like, I think we might actually need to play with them off of camera first to get a feel for them and like get a good flow and like maybe get that initial energy out, that nervousness and excitement of a new person, and then switch to focusing on content. And like, I think it all depends on the couple. So I think, it could be a situation where it's just a bit, it's an agreement that we're doing this to make content, or maybe they're friends, relationships of ours where that's just a benefit, where we get to play with them on and off cam, hang out with them on and off cam, and it's just a part of the whole thing. And ultimately, I think that would, I would hope for that. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be like something you can just plan for.
Right.
But I would hope that we get that kind of friendship out of it. Because I think that's going to add a part of our brand is the naturalness, like the connection. People
it's like these people just doing something they do on a Tuesday,
Exactly.
Right, exactly. Like, these people are just doing this to make porn, whereas a part of who we are is we're not just doing it to make porn. We're doing it because we
thoroughly enjoy it.
Yes, and there have been moments where maybe we were like behind on content, and we just got together to make content, and I go and look at the video, and I'm like, God, there's just nothing there. Like, we just literally just did it to do it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, do this and do that. It's like you're just painting by numbers versus we are in this thing right now,
Yeah, and there's clearly, like, you can tell on cam.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you're not always going to be 100% on. And that is really hard because, like he said earlier, we were a little bit behind on content right now because the last couple weeks have just been crazy. Everything's starting to open up. Minxy just started school. Jack is starting new things. My job is crazy. Like, we just have so much happening right now.
Well, that, and there's also a little.
I twisted my ankle, so I couldn't walk for a week.
What happened with your ankle?
Oh, we were hiking and I just stepped wrong and twisted my ankle.
Oh boy.
It was bruised.
Yeah, it's definitely very green. It's not swollen anymore. I can walk, but for like the last week, I couldn't even walk for 3 days at all.
Right. Holy shit.
So, and that was on a weekend. That was on a Saturday. So usually weekends are when we do our content. And
right, because
so
everyone
I
is
couldn't
home
walk.
then.
Yeah, so health issues kind of got in the way, so we've been behind a little bit because of that.
Yeah, and so, it's like, okay, well, do we wait until we're all 100% in it again and make content, or we just color in those lines and check that box?
We did that, and I was looking at the video yesterday, and I was trying to edit it together, and I didn't end up posting it because I was like, you know what, I'll pull some clips from this that look good and use those for advertising for now, but I'm not going to post the full-length video of our session because her ankle was hurting her. Nothing looked naturally. It was just sort of a mess. But it's
I was
okay.
trying to be a good sport with my ankle, and
It's
it
okay.
just
Is
didn't
that
work.
is that more about your subscribers or more about you?
I think it's us. Like, we want our brand to be that natural. Our subscribers comment that that's what they like about us, that we have this connection, that we're your everyday, you could be walking down the street and we're the people you see in your neighborhood.
Like, we laugh during sex sometimes, which is a perfectly natural and real thing. But most porn that you see, even amateur porn, doesn't have any of that. That doesn't have any of the realism.
Yeah, they're just like, yes, 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 yes. Oh, yes, 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 yes.
So, yeah,
I am coming right now. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, it's squirting. We're not trying to do that.
We don't fake orgasms. We don't fake noises. We don't.
Yeah, there's nothing that I hate more than when I'm watching a porn, and this is what you hear in the background. I just hear that, and I'm like, and I'm flaccid again. Or the fake girls. They're so clear. You can go on Pornhub and you can sort by like amateur, homemade, and professional, and like some of the professionals get it now. They're bringing in amateur girls to make that content, but then you have like just the pure professional in it, and it's like they got some crazy makeup on, and what are those lip injections, fake tits.
Oh yeah.
Not that we're hating on anybody.
No, we're not going to hate on anybody.
But that's not our brand.
But that's not our brand. But my point is you see that, and what you're looking at, I feel like for a lot of guys it's really hot, and then for some people they look at that and they go, it's just so unreal
and unattainable.
and not just unattainable, but kind of almost fake looking. Like, is this girl really enjoying doing what she's doing? You can almost see the pain in her face that she's not. She's doing it for the thousands that she's getting, and we're trying to avoid that at all costs.
We're doing this. Yes, the money is great. It's an amazing benefit, but we're doing this because we thoroughly enjoy it. We thoroughly enjoy each other.
Yeah.
And that's what we want
to see that.
Yeah, we want to convey that.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned something phases. Like, do you have this planned out in phases?
Yeah, so I had this phased out for basically a year or two, just depending on how quickly or how slowly we do each phase. Mainly because I realize that at some point, like, our age is going to be a play in this. We're not going to have as many subscribers because we're older. Maybe there's just like a saturation issue. People like everyone who would want to see us has seen us, things like that. So I realize there's a finite amount of time that this is going to be great, and that doesn't necessarily mean that when things start to teeter off, we'll stop. I just think that means that we have to make the best of it while we can. And so I've phased it out so that we can keep things interesting and new and exciting, and not just be basically presenting the same content but a little bit different
Sex
over and over
room.
again.
yeah, I was gonna say, do you find that going through in phases also like helps with the retention?
Yes, that is so. Like, I come from the insurance industry, and that's all about retention. Is where you make all of your money, and so I'm just simply trying to figure that out. And we're getting better at it. We're over 50% retention right now, but that's been a big piece of the phases. And I also think, like, it's not, the phases aren't just for the porn. I think it's also fun for us to
Yeah.
like experiment with, to keep us excited and experiment with new things. You know, like I said, bringing in other couples. We're looking at potentially just bringing in another guy.
Oh yeah, remember we talked about Sex Pass?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the 2-year thing. What
My 2-year
happened?
waiting period is over.
So what happened with the 2 years though?
It wasn't the right time when we first met. It wasn't until 2 weeks ago that Jack was finally like, I know that I'm not ticking this box for you the way you need it. So if you want to reach out to somebody else, I'm okay with it. And Minxy was fully on board with it too. And so I reached out to this guy because we've maintained a friendship for the last 2 years. And I was just like, hey, are you still interested? 2 years ago, you said you would date the fuck out of me. Is that still a true statement? And he was like, hell yeah. Friday night, let's go out.
Got wasted and fucked in the living room.
Got wasted and fucked in the living room. And it was awesome. And he's great. And he also really wants to come in and film content with us. And it's just, I think it could be a really awesome thing. So I'm getting that box ticked, and we're getting a new person in to film content.
Yep.
Like, I see no negatives here.
Yeah, I'm trying, like one thing I've been wanting to do, which we haven't
Right.
done yet, but I had this great idea, and I think it could really play out if we actually put it into action, which is, I was thinking of like a Twitch porn
Oh, yeah.
style. And so, like, I know Twitch is aimed at kids, which is obviously not what this is.
No.
There are a lot of older people, like, we're talking 18 to 30-year-olds, right? So I had this great idea. I was like, what if, because we all three play video games. Minxy's a bigger gamer than Nikki. Nikki just is getting better at gaming with us.
I play like Nintendo games.
Right. And then I'm a pretty big gamer, but that's, I think, because we each have a different dynamic. Like,
Yeah.
Nikki's the new person who's like learning a game and struggles. I like the more intense games, and then Minxy likes the more.
She's the 100% complete, very
Oh,
thorough, very
yeah.
slow.
I also like the storyline. Like, I'm waiting. I'm still waiting to play The Last of Us 2. I have it. I just haven't carved out time to start it, but I'm super excited because I've heard such great things about it.
So I had this idea where every week we play a new game, and it features one of us playing the game, and then that person is being fucked and played
Or
with.
just tried to be distracted from
Yeah,
the
I mean, not
game.
just fuck, but like any sexual anything, like basically sort of like a free
Right.
yeah. So like getting them to be naked, fingering, playing toys, whatever, and vice versa for the guy, to try and distract them from the game, and then ending the video however it ends. Either they're distracted and we all finish, or they continue to play. But I thought that'd be a really cool style to like do a
Right.
video game commentary while being
Distracted,
distracted.
sexually.
While we played with. Will you guys do that?
We actually will do it. The problem so far that we haven't done is because we do have a roommate.
So
And our computer
when
is,
the
like,
sex
the main
room is
room of the
ready
house.
now.
Yeah, well, then we don't even need to worry about the sex room. Just once they're
Yeah.
out of the house, because then,
Then we can be naked all the time.
yeah,
We try to do
exactly.
this sexual thing because they're not a part of this lifestyle. So
Right.
just see their face.
Yeah.
Right. So, you have your OnlyFans going, but you have this relationship happening at the same time. And then people are gonna be, the audience are gonna be like, man, Jack, you're the man, you have these two amazing ladies by your side, blah blah blah. But there's gonna be a lot of work involved, right?
I mean,
Yes.
like we had talked about, between all three of us being in therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and then and then having group therapy, and then constant. I mean, I don't want to say we fight often, because we don't really
We don't
fight
really fight.
that often, But just imagine a normal relationship that's been going on for 7 years, add another person to it, and then add that dynamic. And so, there are moments of difficulty. There are days where, we might not want to be very close to around each other for a little while. And we are learning that, that we can't just overwhelm each other all the time. We have to make time for ourselves. Yeah, our
Self-care
hobbies.
is becoming a really big, important part of our lives lately, of the last couple weeks, because we've realized that we've kind of become this one unit without a lot of self-care on the individual parts. And so now we're having to really step back and focus on that too, so our individuals can be okay, so that way we can be okay in the unit.
Yeah, like Nikki is an amazing painter, and she is honing in her skills, and she hadn't been for a long time until we were finally like, we all really need to start giving ourselves me time. So for me, it's cycling. I love to, mountain bike and road cycle, play video games. Minxy, you want
to? Reading. So I kind of read fan fiction, but I want to get back into reading actual. Okay.
Kinda. She reads a lot of fiction.
I was trying to downplay it. Thanks for
It's
that. But I also want to get back
Which fan fiction do you like, though? Or is it just fan fiction in general?
I go through phases. So it dependent on mood and what I'm looking for at that time. But I actually really want to get back into reading books that I love, because I used to be an avid reader years ago, and I kind of let that fall by the wayside because my life got insane. And I realize now that I have to make time for that and just do it, whether I'm like, oh, maybe it's easier to do this instead. No, I'm going to actually sit down with a book and read it.
Well, and we have a beautiful patio. We're getting into beautiful weather now that winter is trying to be over. And we've got a double futon, like it's a double-sized bed futon out on it's a swing on our deck. It's like the best place to read. It's just amazing. We have a view of the mountains. Like, it is just an incredible place to read. And definitely, I know last summer she and I sat on the patio a lot and read. So I'm hoping that this summer we can do it again.
Yeah, no, I would definitely enjoy that.
Yeah, we and another big part of it is making sure that we're giving attention to the 4 relationships that we have. So
right, because there's you and Minxy, there's you and Nikki, then there's Nikki and Minxy, then there's all of you.
Exactly. And a lot of people look at that and they're like, oh, I didn't really think of it as 4 separate relationships, and that's exactly what it is. And you have to nurture all 4 of those relationships. So we just recently implemented this about 2 months ago now.
Yeah, this is our 3rd month.
Yeah, we do a weekly date. So basically, doesn't really matter the day, but basically once a week, 2 of us go on a date, and then once a month it's the 3 of us. So we can each have time to actually date each other individually, and then have a group date, and then we also rotate who plans those dates. So everyone gets a chance to plan, everyone gets a chance to go on a date with the other, and it helps us nurture those individual relationships.
So it's never a case where it's like, oh, I'm always having to plan and pay for the date or something like that, because that's how a lot of relationships start falling apart, is because like, oh,
where do you want to go for dinner? I don't know. Where do you want to go for dinner? I don't know. Where do you want to go for dinner? I don't know.
It's like, so it doesn't put all the pressure on one person all the time. It's, dispersed evenly.
You have this unit and you guys are making it work. But, someone might be like, I find a lifestyle, or how you say, you have 10 boxes, someone can check maybe 7 or 8 or whatever, and then they want to get into the lifestyle you guys have. What lessons have you learned that you can share?
Start by reading and researching first. So there's a really good book. It's called The Ethical Slut. It's a really good intro to poly book. And then they wrote a second book called More Than Two. and that it furthers on what the Ethical Slut builds on. Really, really good place to start. I read those books before when I was in Ireland last year. So before we even started officially having a triad, I was like, oh, this looks like it could be poly. Let's start researching what poly means. There's really good websites. The polyamory subreddit is really good for just a lot of real life experiences. It's good, and it has its ups and downs. It's good to peruse just to kind of see some people in the lifestyle. There's also a lot of just negativity there too.
Fet Life is a good place as well.
Fet Life is a great place. Just researching, if you can find people who are in the polyamory lifestyle, just asking them questions. I have a friend who's been in it for a decade, and she's like my guidance leader. When I have questions, I'm like, what does this mean? What happens here? How do you have these conversations?
I've actually written some pretty thorough posts on Fet Life. So if anyone, wants to read about not only kind of more in depth about our story, but how do you get your own unicorn? That's one I've written. And another one is what's the work that's required to go into a poly triad relationship? And I'm trying to just be as straightforward and honest as possible, but that's on our Fet Life profile. And all of our socials are some variant of Poly Triad. So it could be poly_triad or poly triad. But I have some really great information you can read up and get, kind of get an idea of where to start if people are interested in that. And one thing I will say off the bat is that if you're like just looking for a third girl and that's it, and you're kind of a unicorn hunter, good luck. That's all I'll say is it's low likeliness of anything coming from that. It's a lot of work and not a lot of results.
Yeah.
So I guess the best way is to just kind of be you and be honest with what you really, really want.
Yeah.
And go out and like on Fet Life, they have a lot of meetups, in their events calendar. Go and join some of these groups. Go meet other poly people, and that's the best way to get into it.
Honestly, in my opinion, the best, if you are really interested in having a poly relationship, and not specifically a triad, I always just say, go and join the poly groups online, make friends, and then just build friendships without the intent of a relationship, and allow yourself to be involved and allow yourself to make friends to the point where maybe it turns into more.
Because that's really what happened here, right? Like you met at this cult. but you met at this cult and you became friends, and that became what you have now. And like you're still working at it. I mean, you have therapies weekly and stuff like that. So there's a lot of work still involved in keeping this going.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to find this on Tinder. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to hop on Tinder and get into what we have. I don't think you're going to be able to hop on to some online dating website and catch yourself a unicorn. I think a lot of the stories that I've read, and this is just anecdotal evidence, but from what I have read of other triads and polyamorous relationships, is that 9 times out of 10, it just sort of fell into place.
Yeah. We didn't go looking for Minxy. Minxy just happened into our lives.
Yep. That seems to be a pretty common theme.
Wow. Oh my God, guys. I'm learning a lot. I'm liking the dynamic between you three. And I just want to keep this going, but I'm running out of time. And I know you have a lot of things on the go too. So I want to let you go with this question though. Like, with this dynamic you have, you've kind of find this sweet spot where you have time for yourself and time for each version of the relationship in this triad. What are some things, right, that you feel that, okay, between OnlyFans, between the dates, between work, between all these things you do, what things you do each individually to make it work, right, with everything that you all do?
You want to start? You want to spot?
Oh, of course. For me personally, it's about making time for myself because that's, as we said, that's something we're working on recently because we realized we've been living in each other's back pockets way too much because of COVID and everything else. So just having that time to be myself, to do the things that I really enjoy on my own, really helps with not like getting absorbed into the unit because that's very easy for myself because of my expensive personality to just kind of become background noise. So that doesn't happen. I make sure that I'm open and honest with my therapist so we can work on anything that I need to work on there. I make sure to make time for myself and anything I need to do. And, I have to make sure I actually focus on me instead of just the triad.
Baby, you're never background noise.
Nikki?
And you?
So for me, it was really important to me to, I started powerlifting again recently, and I realized that over the last year, even though I had a home gym, I was just trying to minimize my time because my powerlifting workouts are about 2 hours a day. And I was trying to minimize the time that I wasn't spending with the unit. I wanted us, it was quarantine, it was new, it was shiny, we were spending every moment together. And I felt like just some part of me was missing. And so recently I started powerlifting again, and I started carving out nights a couple times a month to paint. And it was really just, being able to set that boundary for me and say, hey, I need me time right now. I need y'all. I focus best when no one's in the house. So if y'all can just yeet yourselves from my house right now for 2 hours, because I tend to be the person that if everyone's okay, then I can be okay. And so I make sure that my family is taken care of and make sure my household's taken care of first instead of myself. And so I've been able to establish that boundary of, hey guys, I'm going to have me time right now. You do you, preferably not in the house. Please don't interrupt me. And, every morning between 7 and 8 a.m. or 6:30 and 8 a.m. is my workout time. Please don't interrupt me unless you're bringing me coffee. It's the only time you're allowed to come talk to me. So it was really important for me to establish that time for myself every single day, because when I don't get it, I'm a little bit crabby.
Before Jack says his, I didn't even ask. With your powerlifting, is it are you going to be competing, or you're just doing it for yourself?
So I've competed in the past.
Oh.
And I won my first ever meet. I won a gold medal.
Oh.
Super fun and amazing, and I'm so proud of myself for getting up there that day. It was frightening. It was incredible. It was it's such an amazing experience in my life. And I do plan to compete probably again in 2022, because right now you still have to compete with a mask on. And with my asthma and my anxiety, I just don't think that would be a good scenario for me to be on a platform. So 2021, I'm pretty much just competing against myself because I took 2 years off. And my numbers were really good, and I want to get back to where I was.
What was it before? Sorry, what was it before you? What is it now?
My highest squat is 405 pounds.
Jesus. Yeah.
My highest deadlift is 350 pounds, and my highest bench is only 145.
That's insane.
So
That's
right now I'm
crazy.
definitely not there.
Right. Those are crazy numbers. Okay. And Jack?
I think for me, it has been just making sure that I'm putting forth the effort towards myself as well as the others, because I've definitely been pretty self-centered in the past. I think when we met, I called it the Jack train. And I was like, you're either on the train or you're off. So I was that guy for a while. And I, through therapy and through, self-realization, that everyone has to have, a fair, what am I looking for?
We play to our strengths.
Yeah, make sure that everyone has a fair opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's not just one person trying to control everything. So that has been my biggest growth, and what makes all this work is realizing that.
Wow. Guys, I'm sure. So, I didn't even let you guys out. What are your, where can people find you guys and like your OnlyFans links
So
and
you can
stuff
find
like
us. We are on Reddit. We're on FatLife. We're on OnlyFans. We are. We have our own website, poly-triad.com. On Pornhub, we are Nikki, Minxy, Jack. On OnlyFans, it's just Poly Triad. On Reddit, it's poly underscore triad. Yeah. So we could be found all over the place. We also have a link tree that takes you to all of our different websites. So I think that's link.tree/polytriad. So
Nice. Oh man, I'm grateful. Thanks so much for sharing your lifestyle so far and getting someone educated. And I can't wait to actually have you guys back on maybe in the next phase of your OnlyFans, whatever, when the sex room is
Next
ready.
room.
Check back in for an update.
All
Man, thanks so much.
right, have a
Thank
good one.
you.